Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
We are live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Man, Trump is a comedian. I'll tell you that right now, guys. He's funny. Even Norm Macdonald, the late, great Norm Macdonald, said Trump was funny. One of the first interactions he had with Donald Trump whenever he was on SNL was he was walking through the hallway, and Trump was there. And he said, "Hey, Mr. President, can I get a picture with you?" And he said, "Sure, no problem." And he just kept walking straight to the elevator, and then the doors closed. And then Norm said that was the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life because it was comedy. Like he knew, he knew it was a joke, but that's what he did that for. He just thought it was funny. So that's Trump in a nutshell. He knows when to be funny. He has a great sense of humor. I mean, that's why he's one of the best crowd workers in politics right now. Because he just has a way with people. He's very charismatic. He can relate to people very easily, and he's funny. The best way to relate to people is through comedy and self-deprecating comedy as well. Granted, he's not much of a self-deprecating guy, but the stuff that he does still works. It's still very funny. He's quick on his feet. So Trump, I would say, is a very comedic president. Him and Reagan are very similar. They just have great timing. They have good public speaking. They just have a way with people. They have a way with working a room. So great stuff. I mean, just an awesome event. What is that event called, Chad? What was
That is called the Al Smith event. It is a Catholic. It's the Catholic, some sort of Catholic convention or regular thing that the presidents always end up going to.
But Kamala didn't show up.
Yeah, and this is the first time in history since 1984 that a Democratic nominee didn't show up or a presidential candidate didn't show up. Joe Biden didn't show up. And Kamala Harris didn't show up. And Jim Gaffigan, I think I have one where they talk about him not being here and it's a joke. And it's weird because Joe Biden at least claims that he's Catholic, says he's Catholic.
No, Joe Biden is not a Catholic. He's a heretic by any tradition. I mean, granted, in this new age Catholicism with this new pope that they have, I mean, I guess everybody's a Catholic now. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what's going on with this new pope. I don't know. And Joe Biden has not been a Catholic for a long time.
Yes, but
he's a heretic.
Yeah. Regardless, is Joe Biden didn't show up and Kamala Harris didn't show up. And the last time that a presidential nominee or a president showed up for this was in 1984.
When Reagan won every state except for one.
Exactly. And Reagan won 49 states, the Democrats won.
And all it did was just show his likability and his charisma. Again, that was funny. People like that. So, it just goes to show you that he has a sense of humor. Despite all the terrible things that have been done to President Trump throughout his candidacy and his post-presidency, he's still got his chin up. He's still got his chest up high, and he is not afraid to keep going. And not only that, kept his sense of humor along the way. So that's awesome. Awesome. What else you got, man?
I'm just pulling up memes for the bottom corner right now, but I can go ahead and pull up any one of those videos. I can pull up another one of Jim Gaffigan, or we'll just do one of those real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see if I can find it. Where did that Jim Gaffigan? There it is. I'll pull that.
Yeah,
up.
if you know anything about Jim Gaffigan, he's a comedian. I have always liked Jim Gaffigan. I thought he was a funny comedian. You know, he's the hot pocket comedian. You know, that's kind of his shtick. But he has major Trump derangement syndrome. I'm amazed that he was able to sit. Granted, all these people in Hollywood, they're all bravado and no actual machismo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's all blowhard. You know, it's like it's like Jim Gaffigan tries to. I'd punch him in the face if he was anywhere near me, but this clearly shows he wouldn't. You know, it's like he's very tough and he's like, I hate Trump. He's a horrible president. He's evil. You know, and then when they're in the same room together, I mean, sure he does roast Trump a little bit, kind of making fun of him a little bit here, but Trump's was better. Trump was funnier. You know, and again, when your comedy comes from a place of anger and outrage, it's not going to be as good unless it comes from a place of charitable spirit and, you know, good nature. Like, Trump really wasn't making fun of Chuck Schumer as much as he was making fun of the ideology behind the Democrats.
100%. And I've got it pulled up if you're ready.
Yeah, so whenever you're ready, go ahead and play it.
Absolutely.
Presidential campaign. The Democrats have been telling us Trump's re-election is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. You know, this has been...
So he's literally speaking truth to power right there. He's talking about how the Democrats staged a coup against Joe Biden, and there was no election. And, you know, he's saying it was Kamala's dream come true. I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, that is completely true. And I have yet to hear an argument from any Democrat of how that wasn't a type of coup where, like, she was not elected, she wasn't voted for in the primary at all. She was just given this campaign just because they're like, Joe Biden's done for. We got to get him out of there.
Nobody else wants to do it. I mean, when people like Barack Obama and Michelle Obama don't want to step into, like, well, hey, Michelle Obama doesn't have the jib for it. She is not she doesn't want the smoke. You know, she just wants to come out and give little speeches and have everybody praise and love her. But she would not be able to handle the smoke. You know, I mean, again, remember, the Obama administration was the only administration that had ever banned people from the White House. They banned certain press outlets from the White House. They said, you're not welcome. For all the Trump's going to lock up his political rivals nonsense, Trump never kicked CNN out of the White House press conferences. They got to raise Cain and be like, and make their little grandstanding statements and be like, I will not be silenced. He's like, no, not talking to you, not talking to you. They were never kicked out. They were never jailed. They were never thrown away. Like, I mean, there is no precedent for Trump to lock up his political rivals, but there is precedent for the Democrats trying to lock up their rivals. So just remember that. And again, you know, like I said, was that kind of funny what Jim Gaffigan said? Yes, there was a little bit of truth in it. But again, it just it did not hit as hard and it was not as funny as what Trump said. So, sorry, Jim, you've kind of lost it there. I mean, he's trying to probably keep it somewhat respectful because it's politics and he wants to be invited back to these things. But it wasn't that good. I mean, I don't think he was a standout by any stretch of the mind. Yep. Like, nobody's going to remember that. Like whenever Norm Macdonald was roasting Bill Clinton, that was funny. Like, go back and look up Norm Macdonald roasting Bill Clinton at this thing. Like, he was sitting there going, he was talking about how he might have done some unsavory things to his rivals. Then he'd be like, and he just said, is he laughing? You know, he literally looked back and goes, is he laughing? And then that got the biggest laugh of all. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, it hasn't been the same. And, you know, it's tough to follow somebody like Norm because Norm is a comedic genius. I'm not saying Jim Gaffigan isn't funny. I find Jim Gaffigan very funny. That was just not Jim Gaffigan's best. And again, when your comedy comes from a place of hate and it comes from a place of political bias, it's not that good.
Now, of course, they say.
So, it looks like Chad found it. So, actually, we're going to pull up the late great Norm Macdonald roasting Bill Clinton. So this is awesome. This is classic Norm right here.
All right. You ready?
God, I miss this man.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, playing.
The White House is haunted. Did you know that? And I thought this was kind of sad. I heard last night that President Clinton charged Abraham Lincoln's ghost $10,000 to sleep in his own bed. So that doesn't seem right to me, you know? I mean, but look, the president, you know, has come under a lot of fire for raising money, but you know, he's good at raising money. That's not a bad thing. Every president's done it. It's just that President Clinton is very, very, very good at it. Do you know he has organized in the past year over 100 fundraising dinners and over 200 fundraising midnight snacks? Did you know that? Is he laughing? Is he? Now, of course, they say.
Gosh, Norm, he's so good, man. He's so good. Just his presence, you know, like, I mean, there's just something about Norm. You know, he plays the dumb guy, you know, and that's what you want, you know, like, and he talked about that multiple times. You know, he wants the dumb guy can be relatable. You know, he doesn't like the Bill Maher style comedian that goes where Bill Maher is the type of comedian that thinks he's smarter than you are. Norm is a genius, but he plays the everyman. He plays the dumb guy because it's relatable and people like that. You know, Bill Maher is the type of comedian that thumbs down his nose at people that he thinks are dumber than he is. So, anywho, well, we'll what else you got, Chad? We have
This is like the difference between, you know, kind of like our thumbnail this morning. I called it the joke and the Joker, and
Yeah.
Kamala is the joke and Trump is the Joker.
oh, nice.
So basically, what I have here is because this has been the talk is like her going on Fox News and doing that interview with I forget his name. Doesn't matter because I don't think he pressed her as hard as he could have, and he actually was pretty civil with her, in my personal opinion. But it was just a horrible interview, and like Democrats are saying that, you know, Kamala handled herself terrific on this interview, and it's nothing further from the truth. And this is just the point right here. I mean, there were several gaffes like this throughout the conversation, but this one right here is just so bad.
This one takes the cake.
I don't see how anybody could think that she did anything good in this interview after seeing this part here.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than
people
70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, frankly,
What on earth was that?
Dude.
I mean, that was the most ridiculous thing. Like, but the country, 70% or almost 80% of Americans say that the country is on the wrong track. Says, what do you have to say to that? And Donald Trump has been running.
Yep.
What? What are you talking about? That was the most pathetic excuse of an answer. It's like, it's literally the joke that all the conservatives say is like, when in doubt, blame Trump. That is literally what she did in this interview.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this, ladies and gentlemen, this was a lawyer. She was the AG, right? She was the Attorney General of freaking California.
Yeah.
Like, holy Lord, folks! Like, this woman, like, good. And look, there's a difference between. It's going to show you that even lawyers aren't the smartest of people. Are they experts in their field? Sure, but a lawyer comes up with their little speech. They come up with how they're going to defend somebody. And if you have not thought of something outside the box, the way somebody will attack you, a lawyer can look dumb in trial. So, again, she's not quick on her feet. She's not like Donald Trump. She does not have a very good, again, being quick on your feet, being relatable, these are things that matter. And she did not have an answer for that. And her answer is, but Donald Trump. And literally, that is her answer. But Donald Trump. Well, what about Donald Trump? Well, he's bad. Like that's all you've got. That's all they've got. Like I'm sure she is a decent lawyer, but again, if lawyers are notorious for having to meticulously prepare for their speeches and for what they're going to say in court, and there's a script and there's procedures. There are no procedures in interviews. Again, this was a Fox interview. This was not a MSNBC or CNN interview where they were going to give her softball questions and baby her throughout the entire conversation. Be like, wow, what a profound answer, Madam President. You were a middle-class woman. You did get raised in a middle-class family. Wow. But here we are now. Again, first adversarial interview, but Trump is all she had.
Yep. And if you can see from this meme right here that I have pulled up underneath now, levels of pain: slap, moderate or just very minimal pain; childbirth, high levels of pain; kicked in the balls, extreme levels of pain; then listening to Kamala Harris is all
unbearable.
The way to the top.
Yeah.
And that was a horrible interview. I do not see how anybody could just go, "We did it. That was a win.
We did it, America. We stopped Donald Trump."
Yeah, no kidding.
And again, you wonder why they were allowing this many illegal immigrants to come in. They don't have a choice but to let the illegal immigrants vote, because that's the only way that she could win this election. Every time she speaks, she goes down, Trump shoots up. What else do you want here? I mean, what else is going to happen here? I'll tell you what's going to happen here. Donald Trump's going to win if this election is done right and fair. But if these, again, but maybe the Democrats are playing the long game. Again, it's like what I told you before. The congressional seats are not doled out by voter population. They're doled out by total population. So if there are 10 million new illegal immigrants in liberal cities or even conservative cities now, there's going to be liberal congressional seats being added to Congress. So what does that mean for us? It means that more Democrats are going to have more voting authority in Congress. That's a terrifying thought. So even if Donald Trump wins this, the Democrats are still playing the long game with their immigration strategy. And eventually, I said, if Democrats have their way, they're going to be like, well, we should only do things by popular vote. Well, pure democracy is horrible because we can vote away anybody's rights in a pure democracy. Constitutional republic will uphold the rights of the people because you have to try to undo the framing of the Constitution.
Yep.
But with pure democracy, it's like going, hey, that person looks different from us, so I don't think he's actually a person. That's how you can justify slavery. You can justify anything in pure democracy.
Yep. But next thing I have here is this is a video on CNN of this guy right here, this black conservative right here, who's great. He wrecks the CNN panel on how they're talking about how Kamala did on this interview. So they're talking about the interview that she went on Fox News right here. And this guy is, I mean, he gets every point just perfectly across of like how bad she is as a candidate and how bad she is with all of her policy positions. So check it out.
Let's hear it.
I mean, wait a minute here. The vice president once upon a time supported taxpayer dollars, your money, my money, your money, all the people who are watching, to go towards people who broke the law coming into our country, to give them driver's license, to pay for tuition when we're struggling to pay for our own children to get a college education. Then her own running mate signed into law in his own state these very things that she's now saying she's now against them. And American people are supposed to believe that the vice president has now all of a sudden had an epiphany. And all of a sudden, all of her beliefs have magically changed, yet the guy she chose clearly believes these things. And you're flipping it to Republicans? I mean, wait a minute here.
Perfectly executed. Like, she has had her policies that she's completely flip-flopped on. Same with Tim Walz. Tim Walz, her running mate, has policies and just recently enacted policies that she's straight up like, I'm against those policies now. And we'll be like, oh, she's completely her or Tim Walz, one of these two have had a complete like revolution in their change of thought. Now,
or is she just trying to sound more moderate so she can win the moderate vote?
Exactly,
the more middle ground vote. And again, this is what's so disgusting about all of this. If Republicans are telling you no, this is bad, your policies are going to hurt the country, and they go, nuh-uh, our policies are going to save the world. And now they're going, well, maybe our policies aren't saving the world. Maybe Republicans were right all along. Why did you vote for the Democrats in the first place? Why are you going to vote for the candidates that have already have a proven track record of being wrong? You're just going to vote for them to continually be wrong? They're not changing their minds. They're just changing, again, Kamala the chameleon. Chameleon Kamala. She's just changing her positions to try to pander to the more moderate voters, the people who are undecided, the independents. So it's just disgusting. It is politics 101, and especially Democrat politics 101. Again, and preach forgiveness to the Democrats, preach intolerance to the Republicans, like going, their policy positions are mean and cruel. It's like, I don't know, maybe your policy positions are mean and cruel. Maybe encouraging the mass migration of people to get swallowed by a black market sex trafficking ring, an illegal migrant trafficking ring, being held at gunpoint, being shipped across the border, and then being held hostage essentially for whatever thousands of dollars you owe these cartels for coyoting you over across the border, isn't a good thing. That's what your policies have done. And all this you have done, if Democrats had played ball back when Trump was president and just said, let's build the border, all of this could have been avoided. It wouldn't have stopped completely, for sure. Democrats are right when they go, that wouldn't totally stop it. You're right. Nothing ever will totally stop illegal immigration. But it would have slowed it down significantly. And all these NGOs that are, again, in whatever countries they're in, telling all these people from Africa, China, all of South America, saying, hey, come to America. That is cruelty, and it is evil. Mm-hmm. And they're going, America can pay for it. And again, this is all China weaponizing these apps and stuff that they're building against us. Like, it's like a Chinese-based app that's like the one that's teaching people how to get over here. And it's got like every single language.
Yeah, it's TikTok. And TikTok has how-to videos of how to get to migrate to the U.S. or to any other European nation. Mm-hmm. That's what they have done. And China, and it's funny that China's doing that because China has like one of the most strict closed border policies of any nation.
Again, if you're a Muslim in China, they put you in the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps. We don't talk about that. But again, China views Islam very differently than the West does. Like whenever Islamic people say death to America and we hate the West and we hate your ideology, we just go, oh, they just don't understand. We just need to share with them our freedom and democracy. And now they won't try to change our country. They'll just love our country. It's like, no. Like if someone tells you they hate you and they want to kill you, at least do the service, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, you know what? I think I believe you when you say that. Yeah. We treat them like that. Oh, they're just children. They don't get it. Once they come over here and have Starbucks, they'll be American.
Yeah. Well,
and then you have China who goes, these people are serious. Like lock them up and deprogram them or never let them out.
The reasons why you never hear about it is because Islam respects power. It's the only thing that they respect. So if you are a nation that's like, nope, we're not dealing with that, they're like, all right, they're not a nation to be messed with. Well, if you're a nation that's seen as weak and conquerable, that's like, oh, these poor, innocent little children, we just need to help them.
These petulant
children. They're going to take your help, and then they're going to use that help to destroy you. Mm-hmm. That's what your enemies do. Your enemies, if you're making a mistake, what's that rule? It's like if your enemy's making a mistake, let them make it.
Don't stop them. Let them keep doing it. Again, we are funding these people coming over. It's like we've showed you plenty of videos on this channel at the border where those like guys who they show pictures like the guy across the border. You don't know who I am, but soon you will know who I am. Mm. And it's like they show a picture because this is who we think this is. We think he's an Islamic extremist from Lebanon who has run multiple terrorist cells. It's like, and now he's here in America. Soon we will know who he is, and he'll be taking credit for a bombing somewhere in your local town.
Yep. But we're kind of getting off topic again. But
yeah.
Kind of getting back to like how the difference between these two presidential candidates. We just saw how Kamala Harris completely broke down in an interview, a slightly hostile interview.
Yeah.
That the Democrats like, she came to an interview and got a debate. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, it was just a hostile interview. It's the only hostile interview she's had her entire campaign.
In her entire career. Number two, and then, like I said, what was funny was that same interviewer was talking about how he could see her staff off camera going, wrap it up, we're done. Like, he could see their hand signals going, nope, no more. Yep. So they were freaking out, too, because her staff knows that she blew it.
Showed up late. and then they wrapped her early. So that tells you that they were doing anything they could. So her whole debate seemed like, not debate, interview seemed like she was stalling. I mean, she did not answer questions. She just talked.
Well, I'm from a middle-class family.
Basically. But anyway, that's how she would be handled in a room full of people who are sharks. I mean, sharks. Other nations who have other interests and desires other than our own. Here's Donald Trump yelling at Germany for making an oil deal. This is back during his campaign, before the Ukrainian crisis and all this other crap. Here's Trump yelling at Germany, being like, what are you doing making an oil deal with Russia when we are your ally and we fund like 90% of your security?
Do it.
It's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia, because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not.
Look, that right there is why all the other world leaders hate Donald Trump. He is not afraid to stand up to them. He is not afraid to call them out on their BS, things that don't benefit them. Sure, that pipeline deal does benefit Germany. Sure. But it doesn't benefit, and look what it's done now. And look, it doesn't benefit us as their ally. It doesn't benefit us who does we are the lion's share. I mean, we are the world police. Like, if these people were actually paying what Trump was asking them to pay, their fair share of their NATO dues, America wouldn't have to be as active in the world as it is.
Yeah.
And it's just disgusting. And again, this is what happens when you have a strong business-minded Republican going in and saying, we want better deals. And then you have Democrats coming up to the table going, well, I guess we'll keep paying for it. I mean, as long as you're still going to be my friend, right? Like that. No. Democrats have always
ceded the ground.
They always come at you from the weak man's position. It's like going, Trump's coming at it from, I have an awesome car. I don't want to sell my car, but you want to buy my car. So I'm going to get the best deal out of my car. I'm not going to sell it for anything less than, it's only a $30,000 car, but I want $50,000 for it.
Yep. That's
where Trump's coming from. Democrats are like, well, I have to sell my car or they won't be my friend anymore. It's like, what do you mean you have to sell your car? So you're going to give it to him for free? Or it's like, we'll give you $1, but you have to be my friend for the next 20 years. Like, what? What? I mean, that's literally Democratic strategy. Or you're like Joe Biden and you just go, well, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to withhold the aid. Because you're investigating a company that my son's on the board of. So again, the Democrats are the mafia, and Trump is a business-minded guy coming in going, I'm getting the best deal for me and America. Don't be afraid to scold other world leaders. Again, when you come in there, like you got the biggest swinging thing in the room, and all of a sudden, all these people are being talked down to for the first time in their lives by an American president. Like, Trump's not talking to them like they're his equal. He's going, no, I'm your daddy, and I'm running the show now. Like, that's why people hated him, because he came in and acted like he owned the room, and and again, we're America. We do own the room.
Yeah. When all of our military bases support these nations, and like just the threat of having an American base like come under attack from a foreign country, you'd be like, oh, guess we're involved now. Mm-hmm. That's basically what having an American base in your country is. It is a deterrent. And what are they doing? They made a deal with Russia that has literally led to the invasion of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I will literally argue
Germany funded the invasion of Ukraine.
Yes.
With this pipeline deal.
Yep. And whereas they go, if they just made a deal with the United States, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. And the European Union, I guarantee you, was like, well, this benefits us, and we want to make things cheaper for our people, which is great.
No, it's
but
great
you
for
made
the
a
German
deal
people.
with the devil, and look what's come home to roost now. In Ukrainian invasion, and they're like, why isn't the U.S. helping and doing more? Well, because when it came to making a business deal with an evil nation, you chose the evil nation over, hey, America might be a little bit more expensive, but at least they're not going to screw us over.
Yeah.
And invade Ukraine or invade another country.
Yep. So, it's just wrong. It's just disgusting. And again, this is why we need business-minded people who aren't afraid to debate or afraid. Again, that's the problem. Democrats are also afraid to walk away from the table. Like, if you want to be in a position of power, you cannot be afraid to walk away. It's like if you're going to a car lot and there's a car there you want to buy, but the guy's not going to come down the price. If you're not willing to walk away, you are never in a bargaining position to begin with. Period. I mean, the power of no. Ask any guy, ask any girl. The power of no is a very powerful thing. It's like, hey, you want to go? Like a guy asking a girl on a date. Hey, you want to go on a date? No. It's like, that's powerful. It affects the guy in a very powerful way, and it can protect a girl in a very powerful way. Or vice versa. Same goes for all of our transactions throughout all of our life. Doesn't even have to be business related. It can just be interpersonal relationship oriented. It can be a business transaction. It can be you saying yes or no to a sin. It can be you saying yes or no to being a good person today or choosing to do the right thing today. But yeah, you always have to be able to, like, the power of no.
Now, this next thing I have pulled up here is from Elon Musk. He posted it. Legacy media, formerly the mainstream media, is a far-left propaganda machine. The legacy media is made and trusted primarily by Democrats. As you can see from this little graph or chart here, that Democrats still highly trust the media. And you can see how it shifted throughout the generations. And I think green is independent, red is Republican, but it's just going down. Like the independents and Republicans going down, and the Democrats are only trusting the media more. So that's what I always argue with my Democratic friends. I go, how is it that only you guys are the ones who trust the media anymore when independents and Republicans are going down at basically the same rate, if you can see the graph right here?
Republicans have always treated the media with a fair bit of, at arm's length, with a fair bit of skepticism, because I feel like we're being told the truth, but I don't feel like we're being told the whole truth. This is where Democrats are just like, well, they showed it to me, so it must be true.
It's amazing that they can do that with media, but when it comes to religion, they're like, no, that
Yeah,
can't be real.
but again, they put their trust in the world and in man. You know, they don't want to put a trust in a higher authority. It's like what we've been talking about the last couple of days. What's the greatest trick the devil ever pulled?
Convincing the world that he never existed.
Convincing the world he never existed. Yeah.
Yeah,
And again, so if you can take away the authority of the devil, then you can also take away the authority of God. You're like, well, neither of those things are real, so I just have to trust people.
Yep.
Don't trust people. Like, it's like that deal with Germany that just happened. You can trust that Germany is going to act in its own self-interest when it comes to oil deals, trying to get good deals for its country and its own economic benefit. Always trust that people will act in their own self-interest. It's only people who believe in a higher authority or higher power that will act outside of their own self-interest in order to benefit either their family, themselves, or the world around them. Because if the world is just material matter and all we have to do is it's a race to get as much stuff as we can, what's the point?
Yep.
I mean, you can screw over anybody. You can justify abortion. You can justify killing your neighbor. You can justify cheating people in business deals. So, it is what it is. Did you have anything else you wanted to pull up or show today?
I mean, I have a lot that I could still pull. I was going to pull up that town that locked its city council out of out of their jobs because they made a deal with China. I said I have that, but I mean, I can play us out with that.
We'll talk about that on Monday. We'll maybe make a whole deal and we'll talk about the most important piece of American history that nobody knows about. That, like I said, that is remnant of the most important history that you don't know about, called the Battle of Athens.
Yeah, Battle of Athens, Tennessee, which is by far, if you thought January 6th was bad, holy crap, the Battle of Athens, Tennessee is the craziest event that you'll ever hear about.
And you've never heard of it. I mean, maybe it might be taught in Tennessee state history,
Which
but
I would argue that there's a reason why. It's because the party that was in charge and that was doing all these crazy things,
All
was
the corruption.
Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. But I highly recommend anybody looking up the Battle of Athens, Tennessee.
yeah, we'll we'll come back and we'll talk about it was that town that locked out their city council for again trying to sell it's a North Carolina town that tried to sell out their some land to China to build a giant battery mining plant there, and they were like, nope, not gonna happen.
Yep. Oh, speaking of which, that's what I have. That's another thing I had right here. Here is their governor, like right here, talking about. I have this video, so we'll play that for that Monday show too. But the governor's like, some towns aren't worth rebuilding because we need them for other purposes. And ironically, that's exactly where that lithium mine just so happens to be.
Wow. Well, there you go, folks. So we'll have something more to talk about on Monday if something crazy doesn't happen over the weekend. And as wild as the news cycle has been of late, who knows? But yeah, the plan will be we'll talk about
because we were planning on talking about that city council being locked out, and then this crazy thing with Trump just roasting everybody at the Al Smith thing, and then Kamala Harris's piss poor interview performance was too hot to not jump on.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's about all I've got for you today. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. That's all we've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
For Kamala Harris, you're not voting for her to run the country. You're voting for the powerful machine that already runs the country. The machine of political persecution, media lies, censorship, election interference, and open borders. Instead, if you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for the power of a real president to represent the people.
Our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
To make their voices heard.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
To make America great again.
Powerful again, wealthy again, healthy again, strong again, proud again, safe again. And we will make America great again.
Vote against the machine. Vote for Donald Trump.